Hi everyone, I'm John Seigenthaler. Today we're talking about a new book. It's called Why Are There Snowblowers in Miami? Transform your business using the 5 principles of engagement. And the author is Stephen Goldstein. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks, John. Good to be here.
In your book, one of the key principles is hot buttons. And when I first saw hot buttons, I really wasn't sure where you were going. What are you trying to explain here?
I met with a CEO recently that I've been working with who very proudly showed me a presentation that his board just approved. And on page 2 it said, these are our 43 strategic priorities. And I guess I must have made a face or something. And he said, is there something wrong with that? And I said, well, I don't know if there's something wrong with it, but you know, I'm a reasonably smart guy. I'm not the smartest guy, but the most I can do is 4 or 5. He said, so how many do you think we need? I said, I think you got to lose about 40. You really have to figure out what are the 2 or 3 critical jugular levers that make the difference between success and failure. And for example, when I went through these 43 priorities, none of them were stupid. People had spent a lot of time and effort and thought developing these. They had spent money. They were grounded in reality. And they were not bad. But there's a difference between nice to do and essential or critical. And my feeling is in this world of constrained resources, the most important thing is to figure out what are those 3 and devote all the resources to make sure you crush those. And then when you do that, you have more time to work on the next 3. I mean, eventually you get probably to the other ones, but I think you have to do them sequentially versus in a parallel manner because you're just not going to do them well. And you don't know that the one you neglect could be the crucial one that makes the difference between success and failure.
You helped the CEO go through that process.
Yes, exactly.
Tell us what happened.
What happened is we brought in his leadership team for, this was torture. We brought in his leadership team. I had hair before I started that process. We started this thing, it was 3 days, and we made each person, we asked each person who was sponsoring a project to get up and explain his project. And I made it clear that everyone who was sitting around the table had an obligation to shoot holes in it. Because we were going to vote at the end, and we were going to end with 5. And so silence was not a possibility. If you were silent, that meant yes. And so we got into very heated debates, as you can well imagine. I've been working on this project for 3 years. It's my baby, and someone saying it's awful, you know, you get very upset. That's the emotional part, but then we got into the substance and factual part. And it was painful for them, and especially for me, because I was the one who had to drive them through this process. But in the end, we chose 5. They voted on 5. And what was great about it, here's what was really great. And that was, not only did they choose 5, but everyone who was there knew why the 5 that were chosen were chosen. They know why the 38 that were not chosen. And they had skin in the game, and they were able to go back to their teams and tell them why that happened, even including having to let some people go if the project was canceled. But they felt like they were part of it.
If you want to learn more about the book, you can go to StephenDGoldstein.com, and of course, it is available on Amazon.